So we got a peek of House of the Dragon in this teaser trailer, but I also got a peek at some Targaryens that look a little strange, if I say so myself. Hey, what's up, nerd fam? It's your boy Gashawn. I want to welcome you to Enter the Nerd. Today we talk about House of the Dragon. The teaser trailer was released, and if you don't know, this is based off of the novel Fire and Blood, which pretty much talks about like some of the family history of the Targaryen family, and it details obviously Aegon's reign when he conquered, and also like what his descendants were doing, as well as the Civil War, which I believe this directly tackles the Civil War between, I believe, Rhaenys Targaryen and I forgot another one. I'm sure my editor will put it up in there. But this is actually pretty cool because I know they were going to do 3 different spin-offs. And I know one of them got canceled, and that was the one that was supposed to be about the first Lannister, which I don't know if anyone was really going to be interested in that. And obviously, they waited quite a bit to even release anything about House of the Dragon because I'm sure HBO knows how disappointed most people were with, you know, Game of Thrones, and obviously that could be a whole video within itself, so we're not going to go too much into that. But based off of what they've said, they're supposed to be obviously coming out with this House of the Dragon, and maybe one that focuses on the North, maybe, you know, the Night's King, and just maybe the establishment of Winterfell, stuff like that, because they have a very cool history themselves. I'm hoping they can do that. That's probably the most 2 interesting families you can really follow, the Stark family and the Targaryens, to be quite honest, right? Now, in this, you don't really see much. You just get a glimpse of a whole bunch of different characters. Now, in said glimpse, there were a few characters they showed that I had no idea who they were because there were some pieces of news that I guess I'd missed along the way before this came out about casting. So I was looking, and one of them is supposed to be this dude named CORLYS Valyrian, who is pretty much one of like the Valyrian family. It is Targaryen, Valyrian, and one more. Starts with a C, I forget the name. But pretty much they all have what you would call Valyrian traits, which is like silver hair, purple or blue eyes, and very pale skin. That's how they're described in the books, and it's actually traits that they were inbreeding to keep those traits, right? That was the entire point of them doing that, right? So I see this guy who is CORLYS, who I believe they do describe in the book. They describe him having old Valyrian features, and it's funny because while researching, after me seeing what was happening here, I'm like, let me see what the actual production is going to say about this. Because his wife, Rhaenys, I believe that's who he's married to in the book, she doesn't have traditional Valyrian features because she's also a part Baratheon. So she has like black hair, like black and silver hair, something like that, right? But CORLYS is supposed to have traditional Valyrian features. They don't mention his skin, but they tell you what traditional Valyrian features looks like, right? And his kids also, they say, look exactly like that as well, which would mean the pale skin and all that. Now, in Game of Thrones, they already took liberties with that because they didn't really give them the eyes, and D&D did it already because they felt like it was going to distract from the acting if you had the hair and all that. I mean, the hair, but the eyes and all that. Okay, so take liberties. Now, somebody might ask, so what exactly is the problem here? Here's the thing. One of the guys was talking about that they wanted to have a more diverse cast, so they wanted to do this. That would be fine if, let's just say, you were describing characters who maybe were mixed, or, you know, because, you know, they are obviously bastards and stuff like that in here, and you were doing that. But you are literally having them play characters that come from a specific group of people that have a specific look. So this diverse, I mean, it's not like this takes place in the United States. It doesn't. George R.R. Martin crafted this world and these people to look like this. That does not mean that you cannot create new characters that they're not Targaryen at all, or Valyrian or anything like that, that could still be in this story. Because each of those Targaryen sides that at war did have allies that were not from them, that they helped, that they leaned on to help them win these battles. And you could clearly introduce some characters, because it's not, let's just not act like in Game of Thrones they didn't take liberties when it came to adding characters. All you have to do is keep the main core of the story there. It's already there, it's already in the book, so you can do that. So if you want to have certain characters that don't actually have a description about what they look like and, you know, just their name, you can do that. Or you can make somebody new that could, you know, diversify the cast. There's not a problem with that. But this is just one of those really weird things. Because I saw CORLYS, I'm like, he looks like Leroy from Tekken. That's the first person I thought about. I was like, this is strange. And then I remember, I thought he was the only one. And I showed my boy Taylor. And then Taylor actually like stopped and it was like, there's like 5. I'm like, 5? And I went before, and I was like, holy. I'm like, there are. There's like, they just had like 5 Targaryens or Valyrians that technically don't go with the description of what they are in the book. Now, some people go like, oh, why does that even matter? Look, in the grand scheme of things, it's not like, oh, if there's a black character, whatever. No, no one, well, at least not me. I don't have a problem with that. But any character that has a specific look, that is specific, that I'm a stickler with that. If in the book it says they look like this and this is the thing, and it's even like twisted into their story, their appearance is actually part of the features they were trying to preserve. And obviously George R.R. Martin feels this way about these features too, right? Which, you know, can be said about how he treats certain characters from certain places in the book. But that's a whole other video. But the whole point is, that's what the author wanted. So you now adapting it, trying to twist it and go, no, I want to see this though. It's weird and lazy, because you could just use that same energy to make some other characters that interact and they'd be really cool. And people go, I want to see that. I want to see that character. Because just because it's an adaptation doesn't mean it has to be exactly like it in terms of story. But that whole Valyrian, Targaryen thing, that is actually pretty important to their identity. It is. Like, that's the key identifier. They were even killed because of these features. You know what I mean? Like, that's how they would be able to identify them. So, yeah, I think this is it was kind of a weird decision to do. Mind you, this is not me saying that this show is going to be bad. I think the show is probably going to be, like, as long as D&D had nothing to do with it, this could be excellent. This could really be an awesome show. I'm just saying, weird stuff like that, and obviously there's going to be some people who, you know, love that. Like, yeah, I love to see Phil represented in a Targaryen. It's like, okay, cool, if that's what you want, but let's just be honest. George R.R. Martin didn't want to represent you as a Targaryen. That's why he created them to look a certain way. Just is what it is. So rather than try to force that in a place where it wasn't created, like in terms of like those particular characters, I'd rather create something new, or perhaps just go to another property and, well, whatever. That's just me. That's just me. You don't have to agree with me. Let me know what you think. Enter the Nerd.